Welcome back to our next episode of the McKinney Podcast. I am your solo host for today, Fred, with FredShots Photography. Our other co-host here that's normally with us, James Jenkins with RiskWell. He is handling some very important details right now, so he has left me in charge of the studio. And we are coming to you from the RiskWell studios here deep in the heart of McKinney. And I'm so excited for this episode because today we have the Community Food Pantry of McKinney. You know, I practiced it and I still got it wrong. But you know what? That just shows, anybody can do this job, right? Okay. And so today we have with us Melody Krill and Andrea Harvey-Rodgers.
That's me.
That's right.
Good job.
That's right. I've known Andrea for many years. And when she got married, I had to retool how I introduced her. But for those of you who know, it's Andy. Okay. All righty. Okay. So Melody and Andrea, welcome to the studio. Thank you so much for giving of your time, not only for us, but for the community. So before we jump into the good stuff, the really good stuff, tell us about yourself, Melody. Where were you born? Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Southern California, and we have been Texans now for 13 years. So don't hold it against me.
That's all right. You got here as soon as you could. Okay.
Yes.
So Southern California, like L.A. or further south?
Orange County.
Orange County. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. So why the move to Texas?
My husband and I visited a friend here, and we just fell in love with the people and just the homes. And we did our research on the schools, and we thought this is where we wanted to grow our family.
Okay.
And so when my daughter was 2, we moved halfway across the country with no jobs in place and just took a leap of faith, lived with friends for a month, and started living here as Texans.
How about that?
Yep.
Okay, so what were you doing when you were in California? What's your history there?
I went to school for ultrasound.
Okay.
I was an ultrasound tech and moved here and started scanning and did that for 25 years.
Wow.
Yep.
Ultrasound. We have, my wife and I, we have 2 sons. And so we've been through the ultrasound process 4 times. So there are 2 miscarriages in there.
Oh, yes. I'm so sorry.
That's, it's one of those things where, we don't know the reasons why, but we have 2 boys, 24 and 22 now, that have occupied more than enough space and given us more than enough memories. Not that we're done with the memories with them. So when they tune in and listen to this, we're done with you.
There's going to be new memories.
That's right. That's right.
The change.
That's right. So that's exciting. So you go from Ultrasound Tech to Texas to Community Food Pantry. How does...
Yeah. It all just kind of... I really believe that it was a God thing, how it all happened. But we were in California, we got married, we wanted to have a family, and we suffered a loss too. We lost triplets, and then we had our rainbow baby, Gracie, and we wanted to be able to do more for her, and we knew that Texas could be the place. So we moved to Texas, and I started working for a franchise called Stork Vision. And I thought, you know what? This is going to be mine one day. I want a business like this. And when my dad was alive, he was always like, you're an entrepreneur like me. You can get this business. And so I bought the business 2 years after working there. And then I got pregnant with my son, Zane, who is a true Texan. Our second rainbow baby came around. Had that business for 4 years, and it was really successful. But competitors started to come in with lower prices and newer equipment, and we just kind of started to sink. And I was able to sell the business and kind of start over, but then the new owners hired me, and I went to go work for them. I mean, it's crazy how it all circles back around, but I did what I had to do for my family. And then I started getting into event planning. and I worked for Craig Ranch, the HOA, and I was their event planner for almost 2 years. But they eliminated that position at the end of 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And so we were in a place of like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And at the same year, my husband lost his job. And so we just had to start over. And I had to go get food stamps one day. It took all day to get $50 of food stamps. And it was the most humiliating experience. The people working there did not make you feel welcome. And it was very humbling.
Mm-hmm.
And that day, that same day that I got the food stamps, I got a call from my friend Elizabeth, and she said, Melody, I sent your resume to one of the board members of the McKinney Food Pantry, and they want to meet with you. And within 24 hours, I had an interview, and then 48 hours later, I had my second interview. And I really do think it was just God saying, hey, I want you over here. So all of those skills I had from owning my own business for 4 years, making it successful, and all the connections I made landed me where I am today. And now I get to help people. And we've gone from feeding 100 families a day to 600 families a day, and just growing like crazy this last year. So it's really crazy to watch it all unfold. The vision that I had for the pantry when I took on the position, and it's slow. Everything is slowly. I mean, this week alone, we had our very first fundraising bingo on Monday night, and the place was full.
Mm-hmm.
And we had so many silent auction raffles donated. It was so beautiful. And now we get to talk to you and share our mission about the pantry and all the people that we're helping. It's just crazy. It's been a blessed week.
That's all right. Okay, so we're going to put a pin right there. We're going to jump over here to Andy. So, Andrea, for people who don't know, she is one of the shining stars of the Community Bank of Texas. And I've known Andy probably a decade now.
Yeah, over that.
That's right. And everywhere that Andy goes, she brings smiles, sunshine, and service. And so what is your connection with the Community Food Pantry?
So I have served, well, let me go back. I have always had a heart of service. I've served on multiple boards, done a lot in our community. This is my community. This is my home. So my kids are the first McKinneyites born in our family. So to me, this is home. And so I've always had this heart for what can I do in my community? I'm not the one to gripe. I'm the one to say, what can I do to fix it?
That's right.
And so I stepped off a different board and got asked to visit and see the food pantry about 3.5 years ago. And at that point in time, it was a completely different food pantry than it is today. We had a different executive director, completely different board. We were serving maybe 10 families to 50 families a day at the most. It was built on, and we've seen an evolution of that grow. So it was built on a completely different world. And we were in a time of change. And thankfully, due to my career now at Commercial Bank of Texas, but before that at large banks where change was inevitable, I kind of am an agent of change. I know how to be very flexible. And so the board said, we need you. We need somebody that understands finances. We need someone that can help us to grow and that can help us to figure out where we want to be when we move forward. So I had the luxury of meeting, then Tammy Hutchins is still on our board. She's the only remaining original board member that we still have. And she was like, don't leave, stay. So I jumped into the board, head feet first, and just kind of gave my all to it. And I'm so glad that I did, to watch what it's done in the past 3.5 years. Now, keep in mind, this is the oldest food pantry in McKinney, much less, I think we looked at Collin County, and it's one of the oldest in all of Collin County. So it was in need of some movement and some change and some freshness, because the times have changed after COVID, certainly. And so we're just so blessed to have seen what it's done. The biggest question I get asked all the time is, of all the boards you serve on, what's your favorite? And of course, I have two favorites, and they really do hold equally because they do different purposes. But McKinney Food Pantry is one of those. So,
How about that? Yeah. Well, thank you so much. I know that, that especially at this time of year, you're probably super busy, super busy. And that, the food insecurity is very real, and for most of us who, have grown up all of our lives on 3 square meals a day, or in my case, sometimes 4.5, depending on where the snacking
if dessert
hits.
is there.
That's right. That's right. And I do have to confess, I did have apple and pumpkin pie yesterday I did get on the treadmill yesterday, but I didn't give it my all. I was very busy editing, but that's a different story. So take us back to when you had to go through the getting food assistance or just getting assistance.
Right.
When was that?
So that was at the end of 2023.
Okay.
And my husband and I had both lost our jobs. And one of my friends was like, you just need to go apply for food stamps. And I thought it would be like a simple process, but it was grueling. They needed this document and this proof and then this bank statement. And it was like, I went back and forth, I'm not kidding, 5 times from the office to my home, office, home. And it was really, really terrible to go through that. And so I have such a heart for the people that are struggling with food insecurity because I was one of them. And I understand, they shouldn't have to make a choice between paying their rent or buying food. And so we fill in those gaps. And so many people are struggling right now. So I know that it's a huge blessing. And in addition to the food, sometimes Walmart will donate hats or gloves or different things like that. So at the end of the cold season last year, probably in the spring, we received a ton of hats and gloves. So I'm like, hold on to those. And so I got some storage bins and I stored them. And yesterday and today I got to be Oprah in our waiting room. And every single, I'm like, you get a hat, you get gloves, you get a hat. And it was like, they were like in tears. They were so grateful because they're cold. And so we don't open until 11, but normally they're standing out in a line, a very long line. And we let them come in for warmth and they just sit there until we're ready for them to shop so they're not cold. But that's what we're in the process of right now. We've outgrown our pantry and we really need an expansion. So we're working hard on getting the grants that we need to make that expansion happen so we can make room for more and so everybody will have a seat and nobody will be left standing or out in the cold.
Excellent. I love that. So what you are saying is that you are more than just supplying the food deficit. Hats, gloves. Are you going to expand into coats and other things? Because those, I know those are bulkier items.
We just don't have the space right now for that. But when people give us their clothes and they donate them, I make sure it gets to the homeless because we have a very big homeless population around us and we know them personally. I know that I brought some blankets from home because I didn't want to just drop them off at the Goodwill. And I knew that they could go to good use to our neighbors. So, yep.
Still just in the food business right now.
I know, still in the food business.
Yeah. Which is, it's honestly, it's nutrition and food is the number one source of life, right?
Absolutely.
And so we take for granted, like you said, those of us who have a job and who work, that we're going to have food on the table. We can't forget that our neighbors sometimes are going through something, even in our own neighborhoods. It's hard to imagine, but when both people lose their job at the same time, it can be a very scary. I've been there myself with 2 little ones at the time, and what am I going to do? And there's this moment of setting your pride apart from the needs and the necessity that your family has. And so I love what Melody said when she was going to get food stamps and try to take care of her family, that it was a moment of almost humiliation for her. We try to do exactly the opposite of the food pantry. It becomes a place of friendliness and smiles.
We give them their dignity back.
And dignity and pride. And the shopping experience is amazing. It's not one where you're just handed a bag of stuff, whether you like it or not, you better eat it. They get to go get what is good for their family, what works for their family. Everybody's different. Some families have allergies, right? So it allows them the opportunity to really fit their needs.
They don't get a box of food from us and leave. Like, they get to come in and shop like they're at Trader Joe's, and every single family gets to leave with a bouquet of flowers. I mean, that just makes them smile right away. And we've upgraded our shopping carts recently, which has cut down the wait time. We used to have these massive carts that would take up a whole aisle.
Yes.
And we had
people can't pass.
Yeah, and we had 7 of them. So now we have 15 small shopping carts. Not small, they're smaller. There's a upper level and a lower level, just like the ones you would see at Market Street. And now we have 15 shoppers at once, and it's cut our wait time down to 20 minutes. I mean, it's incredible. So we're just so much more efficient.
And we're getting more volunteers right now, which is such a blessing.
Yes.
We would not be able to serve everybody without the help of all of our volunteers. And so more and more people are coming forward to say, how can I help? What can I do? And that's amazing too.
Yes. And somebody called today because of the bingo event, and she's coming in with her kids next week to volunteer. So the more events we do, the more, this podcast alone, we need you as a volunteer. If you are listening to this, you can serve your community and be a volunteer, and we are like a family. Everybody has such a great time, and once they start coming in, they really love it. So we have our regular Monday crew, our regular Tuesday crew, and it's just an amazing feeling to be able to give back to your community.
Okay, so on that note, when it comes to volunteering, what are the high need or consistently we need bodies in these positions? What are those?
Those are Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays from 1 to 4 p.m. Those are the times that we desperately need people. And our morning shifts are covered pretty well.
What would those people be doing?
Those people would be bagging groceries for our neighbors. So the people, our neighbors go shopping, and then when they're done shopping, they pull up to the section where they park their cart. And then from that point, we take their cart and bag up their groceries, and our neighbor grabs their flowers, and they go around and they drive to the east side of the building to pick up their groceries, and we deliver their groceries to their trunk.
Oh, that's nice.
It's really nice. And it just keeps the flow of traffic, everything, like, it just keeps everything moving. Oh,
I just realized that way you don't need someone fetching carts from the parking lot.
Right.
So I was like, why would they do that? But I'm as the sole dude in the room, a little bit slower than the ladies, because you ladies definitely think on a higher and faster level. But I was like, why would you do that? Oh, it makes sense.
We have a small parking lot, but this seems to work.
Excellent. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump the gun on that. Where are you located?
We are located at 307 Smith Street on the corner of McDonald and Smith.
Okay. And what is your website?
McKinneyfoodpantry.org. And if you go to that website, you can scroll all the way down to the bottom and hit our link tree, and you can click that link to volunteer, to sign up to volunteer with Volunteer McKinney.
Okay, excellent. And now to volunteer, they don't have to get there's no food prep certification or any of those things, right?
No. My certification covers everyone that comes to volunteer.
Oh, so you have your own in-house certification?
Yes.
Okay. All right. And so what is the age range for someone who wants to volunteer?
So kids can come, teenagers, if they're 14 years or older, they can come without a parent or legal guardian. If they're under 14, we do ask for their parents to be there with them. And if they're young, we really prefer those parents to sign up for a shift when we're not open. So a stocking shift from 9 to 11, because we're so busy, it's not safe to have the little ones running around.
Sure.
But they do such a great job stocking. And we have Girl Scout troops and different companies come in, Walmart, CarMax, all of the companies come in and like to donate their time or volunteer their time, I should say, to help us out, especially during the holidays. But we need help after the holidays as well.
Yeah, not just during our middle school recently came out. The kids from, was it Dow, Fabian? Which middle school? Yeah, they
that
came
was
out and helped.
amazing.
It's amazing. And really neat to see them understand what volunteering does, you know, the spirit of giving to others.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I'm trying to hang on to the details here. Can high schoolers get, is it volunteer community service hours?
Yeah, they're green cord hours.
Yes, we sign off on those.
Okay,
yes,
so they can do that. Excellent. And then when it comes to, what was my other thought? When it comes to companies, like I recently photographed a seed and rice food packing event down in Dallas, and there were several groups from Delta and from these large organizations, and they were like, you know, they all came in and they're all wearing, they've got like that corporate community T-shirt, you know, we're here to serve, you know, hands in action type stuff. But as soon as they got there, I noticed that they divided into smaller teams.
Right.
And it was very competitive. My first thought was, oh, look, it's all of Delta. But then I was watching all of Delta and I was like, oh, this group is throwing eyes of shade at the other group, you know, and they're like working faster. And, you know,
they're competing with each other.
Right.
Who can volunteer the best?
That's right. So what you're saying is that, you know, let's go ahead and say, you know, larger corporations with, you know, a huge team or a huge fleet or, you know, whatever it is they call them, that they could come in and literally have competitive service hours.
They could, but because we're a small pantry, we don't have room for several volunteers at once.
I'm thinking maybe, you know, you've got the Monday crew versus the Tuesday crew versus the Wednesday crew.
Yeah, they get split up. In fact, we do have a lot of companies that do that.
Yes. So like if they call, like Walmart wanted to have like 60 people, and I said, well, we can take 10 on Monday, 10 on Tuesday, 10 on Wednesday. That way. We don't want our regular volunteers to feel like they're not needed, right? Because they're dedicating their time and they set time out of their schedule to be there on their day. So if we do have companies come in, we don't want them to step on any toes, but we want them to feel welcome and needed as well. So when a company does come in, we can plan it, you know, for a special day for them. We truly appreciate their team for sure.
Okay, how about that? So we already know that you unofficially do hats and gloves, but let's get down to the brass tacks, the basis of it all, the Community Food Pantry. How do you stock those shelves?
So thankfully, we stock those shelves by the grace of God from North Texas Food Bank. We are getting over 12,000 pounds of food delivered weekly from North Texas Food Bank. Weekly. And in addition to that, we have grocery store partners like Trader Joe's, Sprouts, Kroger, Walmart, El Rancho, Tom Thumb, H-E-B. Oh my gosh, H-E-B. We love H-E-B so much. We love them all. They are incredibly gracious. And we get Trader Joe's 6 days a week. We get Walmart 2 to 3 days a week. And
that's outside of the 12,000 pounds that you're getting?
That's outside of the 12,000 pounds. We have like 16 commercial size freezers and refrigerators in our pantry. And it's just amazing. Like to keep them all full, we have to order that much food.
So how quickly do you rotate through the stock?
So every morning we stock our fridges, and at the end of the day, they're empty.
That's crazy.
That is how many people we are serving. And it's a good thing because the food that is donated to us from our supermarket partners, that food is about to expire.
Sure.
But it's not expired.
It's not expired, but it is
like next day type items.
Yeah.
All food, well, all real food is perishable.
Right.
That's right.
You know,
Yes.
we've all seen that experiment where they took a fast food burger and fries and put them underneath a jar, and years later it's still there.
Yeah.
But you know what? As someone who grew up with, I had, my mom passed away when I was 8, so my dad, was single parenting for many years. We would see the expiration date, and he would say, "That's the sell by. It's still good."
He knows
That's right.
his stuff.
It's still
That's
good.
right.
That's
He
right.
knows. Yeah.
And then, for a season when, I'm on my own doing my own thing, I'm like, oh, that food is tainted hours before the day actually hits. And then it's amazingly enough, though, when our own sons came along and all of a sudden money was tight again, I was like, you know what?
Oh, you can
That's
still eat
good.
that.
That's
Yeah.
right. That's still good.
It looks okay, right?
That's right.
And we don't serve anything that we wouldn't personally purchase.
Absolutely.
So we're
Because you're
very
responsible.
good.
I'm sure that you're very responsible
We
on
are.
top of all of those things. But
Well, and to Melody's point, the common food pantry, I guess, idea from many people who've never been is, oh, it's a bunch of cans of green beans and corn and things like that. That's actually not at all. I mean, we are so
have
blessed to
fresh
have
food.
fresh salads and ready to eat meals that people can take to their jobs. We've got dairy products. We've got vegetables and fruits and all kinds
We
of
have
amazing.
a huge produce section. Like it looks like a little farmer's market. And we really
fun.
try to
amazing.
make it feel like a grocery store.
Okay, so now for the neighbors that come in, is there an intake form or a qualifications
There
that they
is.
have to meet? So
They do.
What are the general guidelines
So there
for
are
that?
some income requirements that they have to, be qualified within the guidelines. And those are through North Texas Food Bank guidelines that we follow. And they do need to live in McKinney or one of the surrounding areas that we serve. And there's a list of them, and I'd love to go over them with you, but they are listed on our website.
That's right.
But McKinney and the surrounding areas, it's like McKinney and those areas east of McKinney.
Yeah, our immediate areas
Yeah.
kind of circling McKinney.
Yep.
And then we have other partner cities that are larger that do have quality food banks. And so, we're never going to let someone leave without having a meal
Right.
or something.
We don't turn anyone
We never
away.
turn anyone away. But if they are from one of our neighboring communities that does have a quality food distribution system for them, we will redirect them, give them the resources that they need, tell them where to go in the future. But they're leaving with something. They're not going to leave hungry.
And I just wanted to share the type of families that we are serving.
Sure.
So a lot of these people that we serve, they've lost a job recently or they've lost their husband. I have moms that live out of their cars with their children. Like these are people that are really hurting, and we're helping them by, making sure they have food for their families. So we've gotten to know them. We know them by name. They give us hugs. It is just, it's so beautiful because they're so grateful.
So it's probably safe for me to assume that when you were on your own food stamp journey, you didn't get a hug.
No, I did not. I did not get a hug.
How long were you on that?
They made me feel like a criminal.
No,
It was only one day.
just one day.
Yeah, I got $50. That's it.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, so I love that. I just love that you call them neighbors, because that just brings it down to where it truly is. And as you mentioned with Craig Ranch, it's like that's where I live, and so you probably coordinated the one time that I DJ'd the neighborhood block party, because it was right around that time. It was not long after all the COVID restrictions.
Oh, yeah.
So I was out there at the
pool.
At the pool, yes.
Well, it's funny that you say that, though. I would challenge that, because I would say that to Melody's probably recognition, every now and then you'll see a neighbor from even Craig Ranch
That's
or
right.
Stonebridge
That's
that has fallen
absolutely
on their
right.
luck, and they are our neighbors.
That's actually where I wanted to go with that.
Yeah.
Is that because and Craig Ranch is a great neighborhood. But what I like to share with people is that there's two Craig Ranch neighborhoods. There's Craig Ranch where the TPC is, That's a phenomenal neighborhood. And then there's I don't want to say the other, but there's Craig Ranch North, all right, which is, I'd say more median income.
Right.
But even within our neighborhood, where if you drive in there and you see shiny cars and nice yards and nice homes, all these other things, there are still actual needs in there, because in our neighborhood Facebook group, because we've lived there now for I don't know how many years, there are things that you have mentioned where a child, gets, very ill, and it takes all the family resources, or, a spouse, has passed, or, or even hard things like divorce, because, no one ever wakes up and says, today I want to have some tragedy in my life. Mm-hmm. No one ever says that, but those things strike, and, it is difficult. I have seen the struggle personally, even for myself before we moved here, where I was without a job and trying to jump through the unemployment hoops. And, I'm thinking we have no money, and I'm doing all the things online, and I get to the end of it, and then, I click submit, and then the rejection comes along, and I'm like,
I did all that work.
Yes.
I know you spent hours typing all that up, but it's beautiful, like you said. Like Craig Ranch is a beautiful community. Trinity Falls is beautiful. Mm-hmm. I mean, Stonebridge. When there's a tragedy, I mean, I live in Prosper right now. My son was born in Baylor, McKinney, but I feel like I'm a McKinney resident. Mm-hmm. We're right there on, not far from the border.
we just call Prosper McKinney North.
Right, yeah, that's right.
And Salina and even beyond.
But in some of these Facebook groups, the moms, like when there's a need and they step up, it's just crazy, left and right. I can help. Like, I've been very close to going on there. We need formula, and we're going to get formula. Like I said, if we don't ask, the answer is going to be no. Mm-hmm. And our current needs are right now, we need toilet paper. We need bottled water, because we give every homeless person that knocks on our back door a day bag. And they get a sandwich, they get a snack bag, and a bottle of water. So we are in desperate need of bottled water, toilet paper. We love to, I know it's not food, but we love to be able to give our neighbors that are shopping for food a roll of toilet paper as they're leaving, because that is a huge need. And we also put together feminine products. Mm-hmm. So we'll make like a 7-day feminine product of pads or whatever is necessary. And so we ask for those donations, and I have our volunteers make little 7-day bags. We make detergent bags for our neighbors, because El Rancho gives us huge bags of detergent. So we'll make a little bag of detergent to help them get through until they get to shop next time. So
wow,
we're doing everything we can to help fill in those gaps.
Okay, so you said the day bag includes a sandwich. Do you have an army making sandwiches every day?
So those sandwiches come from Sprouts, Trader Joe's. All of our grocery store partners give us those sandwiches. And so instead of putting them in the fridge for the shoppers, if we have extra, they do go in our neighbors that are shopping, that refrigerator. But we have a refrigerator that is just for our homeless. And we make a bag for them when they ring the doorbell, and we get to know them too.
How about that? That's it. There's so much more than just the food pantry.
Oh, there is fundraising, there is volunteering, there is social media, newsletter.
There's so much more.
There is so much more.
And Melody does such a good job as our executive director taking care of it. Someone asked me the other day, has the food pantry grown because Melody's so good at what she does, or has the food pantry grown because people are taking advantage of it? And I said, you know what? I can honestly say that our food pantry has grown for 2 reasons. Unfortunately, it's that time where it's more in need than it ever was. But the fact that Melody has come in and has raised community awareness and has truly given a voice to the pantry to have a life of its own. She every day is working in our community. Every morning is working something to make sure that our neighbors know that we're there. I think just before, people didn't even know we were there.
Right.
And it's amazing to me as long as the pantry's been there. But she has truly just changed the face of the pantry. And we are just so blessed to have her as our executive director. I speak for all of the board members. And we can't wait to see what happens in the future.
Sure.
You know, like this community is growing. We're going to have to grow with it. Unfortunately, as the numbers grow, the people in need grow. So.
That's right. Absolutely. So now you've been coming to the McKinney Chamber of Commerce Weekly Links meeting for how long now?
Almost a year.
Almost a year. And, you know, and I'm going to share, you know, from my own perspective, the first time you got up, what came to my mind was, oh, she's part of Meals on Wheels.
Oh.
And so help, you know, now I know that there's a difference, but let's make some differentiation points between the food pantry and Meals on Wheels. So
I think Meals on Wheels is basically is that for seniors?
Yeah, I can help with that. Yeah, my mother-in-law is on Meals on Wheels. Meals on Wheels is designed for those citizens in our community, usually seniors who are stuck in place. They cannot leave. A lot of our elderly just are to the point that they're either not driving, they're really in a place where they just kind of can't get around well. And so Meals on Wheels is designed to be that companionship and check on them. We do a lot of volunteer work, as you know, at the Chamber. We do Socks for Seniors that the ambassadors have just done. And that's all part of the Meals on Wheels program, an amazing organization that's truly there for seniors who are not going out of their homes. You know, there's nothing worse than being by yourself and not having anybody even come check on you. So they serve that need in the community fantabulously well. I mean, that is just unbelievable. Whereas the pantry is for those who are in need and food insecure and need to find meals that are able to get out, right? They're going to have to come to the pantry and come see us in order to get their
We
food.
do get those calls, you know, where people can't get to us and the phone rings all day long. We are answering the phone all day long, answering questions, and we provide the resources for them. You know, if they need help with their Meals on Wheels, like we'll refer them to Meals on Wheels. Or if they live in Allen, we'll refer them to a food pantry over there. If they're in Plano, we'll refer them to a food pantry there. If we don't know, we get on the computer and we do the research for them.
But when it comes to neighbors actually shopping at the pantry, they must be able to come to the pantry.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Or if they can't get a ride, they can ask a friend for a ride. A lot of our neighbors, they will carpool together and they've become friends. And
well, that's great because you have a small parking lot.
Yeah. Well, and now you're creating a community of people who understand
each other.
Right.
They're not alone in this. And it's really cool to see them come together.
I love that. Okay, so before we wrap up, when it comes to needing assistance with food, you know, open mic, how would you encourage someone who realizes that they are at that point?
So I would encourage you to give us a call at 972-547-4404. That's the pantry phone number. Or just visit our website at McKinneyFoodPantry.org. Just give us a call and we'll tell you what you can do, what your options are, because there are options. And don't feel embarrassed about your situation because so many of us have been there and we've been in your shoes. And, you know, this might just be what you need to help fill in those gaps.
I love it. And, you know, and nothing speaks better than personal experience.
Right.
You went through it. You saw the hard side of it, and it made an indelible impression upon you.
Yes.
Then
thank you.
No one should have to go through that.
For sure.
Excellent. Okay. So now, you know, we're going to get to the lightning round. Okay. No wrong answers.
Okay.
Just choice. All right. And so, you know, we just got off of Thanksgiving. We're still heading into Christmas here. So turkey or ham?
Ham.
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 My husband's ham specifically. He makes a killer ham.
Honey ham.
Yeah. Yeah. He does it with pineapple juice and honey. And yeah, it's wonderful.
Okay. Candy corn or jelly beans?
Jelly beans.
Jelly bellies.
Jelly bellies. Designer jelly beans.
Watermelon jelly bellies.
Oh, yeah.
Watermelon. Listen to this. Do you ever play that game where it's like just random Jelly Bellies and,
And you have to guess the flavor.
Yes.
Love that game.
I hate that game, because some of those weird flavors like old gym socks and things like
Well,
that.
those are the other ones, yes.
So, like, absolutely not. Okay. All right. So green bean casserole or stuffing/dressing.
I'm a green bean casserole girl, and
Green
I make
bean
mine with
casserole
bacon.
for me.
Yes,
Secret ingredient.
That's the only way. Yeah, don't just serve up green bean.
No, you got to make it good.
That's right. Mac and cheese, yes or no during these events?
No.
No.
My kids say yes. I say no.
My kids say yes too.
That's
They
right.
always, you have that bowl to the side just in case there's a picky child. But no, otherwise it doesn't go on the main table.
All right. Pumpkin pie or apple pie?
Oh no, I like
not a
pecan.
Yeah, I'm not a pie person.
Really?
I don't think I'd have either.
So pecan. Really? Okay. All right.
I did not have the heart to make one though this year because that was my mom's favorite, and I lost my mom this year, so I did not make a pecan pie. But I did make my very first apple pie
There you
with
go.
my mother-in-law's recipe, and it turned out great.
So she says apple pie. There you go.
So apple pie.
All right, there we go. And actually, you know what? I'm going to bring it back to the pantry. Do you have, like as the seasons move around, because you've got these great corporate partners, you have seasonally specific foods. So
We have been so blessed. This year we did a turkey drive, and we were able to serve 368 turkey meals. Thanks to North Texas Food Bank, we were able to provide turkeys. And then a couple different donors were able to help us with side meals like stuffing and cranberry and gravy and all the fixins. And so we stuffed all those bags and drove them to First McKinney Baptist on the 21st of November. And they were so amazing. They let us use their parking lot, which had like a circular driveway, so they could drive in and drive out.
Because we do not have a big parking lot.
Right. And so we were like, how are we going to serve 400 people?
Right.
And yes, we were able to bless all of those families for Thanksgiving, which was great.
Yeah.
What an awesome
It
community
was.
outreach that you have. All right. Well, I see that we are about out of time, so we're going to have to, put a bow on this, but we're not closing it off because we definitely, for those of you who are tuning in, the Community Food Pantry of McKinney needs you. We need you to volunteer. We need you to, put your team together that you can come on down whenever that is, that can get coordinated. And it's not necessarily like, when does the stocking happen?
The stocking happens in the mornings from 9 to 11.
But you said you've got that pretty well covered.
I mean, we could always use extra help. Always use extra help. But that would be great if they could reach out. We need donations. We need to grow our pantry. We need food drives, volunteers, anything like that.
Yeah, our number one focus right now is being able to expand our space to accommodate the number of people that we're serving. So that those donations cannot be overlooked, especially our giving community. Now is the time to help us kind of grow.
This
Excellent.
is the time for giving.
Yes.
for
That's
sure.
right. And once again, just to reiterate that there is no reason that anybody should be going hungry. No reason whatsoever.
Absolutely.
And that you never turn someone away. Minimally, they're going away with a sandwich and more knowledge.
Right.
Where to go.
Right. We don't turn anyone away.
That's right. And no judgment, no condemnation. You might even get a hug. All right. Well,
Definitely a smile and
Yes,
some
a
flowers.
smile.
and flowers. That's
Yes.
right. And have your groceries delivered to your car.
Yes.
Well, thank you so much, Melody and Andrea, for coming in. They are the Community Food Pantry of McKinney. This has been the McKinney Podcast, where we are celebrating truly what makes our community unique by nature. Thank you. We'll see you for the next one.